Hello everyone, I'm g0goTBC and today I'm gonna be doing a 100% one-player run of this game, Fireboy and Watergirl in the Forest Temple. This game may not ring a bell for most people simply because they may not know the game by their name, but it's just a massive classic just because so many people played it at school when they were kids. And today I'm gonna show you a run of me playing by myself, controlling both controller at once. So whenever you're ready, you can do the transition and I'll be ready to start my run. Okay, so we're gonna start in 3, 2, 1, go. So as I said before, this game is a massive classic for most people just because they played it at school. And generally, when they played at school, they were mainly playing it with 2 players at once, except today, I get to control both characters at once. Now that may seem scary and a bit hard to do, and it really is for the most part, but I'll try to commentate as I go along. Of course, when you do it, when you beat these 32 levels after about 1,000 times of playing through them, it becomes pretty much a second nature, so I'll be able to commentate as I go along. So at the end of this level, there's a skip that's pretty hard to do and doesn't save that much time. Alright, missed it. Doesn't lose that much time since there's an easy backup. But yeah, I tried to go for it and managed and failed it. Alright, so now for this level we have pretty much a symmetrical level, which is the easiest kind of level simply because it's the exact same input that I do for both characters, except when I mess up like that. When I mess up, it's usually probably not the end of the world, but it's by far the hardest part of running a game like that, just because you pretty much practice the move according to what happens in theory, but when you mess up, you may end up in situations that you've never tried before. So you can basically just struggle just finding a way to just be on track after a mistake. So I'm gonna do a skip that saves 5 seconds there. I'm gonna go for it once. It's a very risky skip, and it's a really hard skip. So I got the first part right. Oh, and you can see that Fireboy is not supposed to be there. Yeah, it's the second pass that's the hardest. I won't try it anymore just because I don't want to spend too much time there, but I tried it. And that's the part that matters. At least I get to show both ways of doing this level. But yeah, you might have seen me try to jump on the side of the water there, and that's not really just to put me on the very side of it. Well, that's part of it, but that's also because you might have noticed already that I jump up slopes and I try to let myself slide down slopes in this game, and that's because when you go up slopes you lose speed, and when you go down slopes you actually gain speed, and you can use that to your advantage for gaining some length to your jumps, and it can make for some pretty good skips. So normally I'd have pretty much a set route that I'd use for attempts, which would pretty much get rid of all the interesting levels at the very beginning of the run. So what I'm gonna do instead is that I'm gonna go clockwise, so that way we'll have a good balance between the hard levels that are pretty much the interesting ones, and then the other ones that are perhaps not that boring, but they don't have any skips that I can use to break them. So right there you could see that it's just pushing 3 rocks, and then after that is GG. Just gotta make sure I don't go into that green puddle there, because otherwise I would have to redo the whole thing. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this level. So you could see me there just doing some precise movement on the slopes just so that I can reach the exit quicker. So yeah, let's say that when you're doing a one player run of this, you're pretty much trying to find a good balance between consistency and speed. Like you can see runners when they begin to run this game that they just take it safe everywhere, and they don't seem to play with 2 players at once, and that's perfectly fine. But when you try to reach a top level like I try to achieve in my runs, it can be really hard to actually do something that's fast while being able to have both characters being played at once. Like, I don't know if it's actually possible to see it on the camera with the movement of my eyes, but generally I'm only focusing on one character at once, and that's generally the character that has the longest path to take. And meanwhile, with the other character, I'm pretty much taking it's a little safer than the other one. Like right now, I just look at Watergirl because she was in a tough section, and now I'm looking at Fireboy because I just have to do this jump as both characters at once. But yeah, something you may notice is that I get a rank at the end of each level, and for the 100% category, it's actually not required to get all A ranks. It's actually required to get all gems, since the requirement to actually get an A rank is actually to get all the gems plus getting a plus beating a time requirement. And in order to allow as many people as we can to actually play this game, we chose to allow even B ranks, which is basically getting all the gems and getting too slow, or the inverse, getting the time requirement but being but what was I saying? Yeah, getting the gems or being too slow, or being fast enough and not getting all the gems. Though that second case would not be allowed, since obviously we do need all the gems for this. So for this, we're gonna do a scary strat that people that it can be really hard to do with 2 players, but since I'm controlling 2 characters at once, it's easy for me to just sync the 2 characters perfectly when they don't have something hard to do at once. Which is something I want to talk about, because people seem to think that doing 2-player runs really give a clear advantage versus one-player runs, which is not always the case, because there are some levels where it's really easy to actually do the level with 1 character, like that level being one of them, just because it's the exact same movement as it's the exact same thing that you would do as 1 player or as 2 players. But there are levels like this one where the 2 characters have to do things that are completely different, which can be hard at once, but once you do a lot of practice, it can be pretty easy. And in this level, there's actually a skip that we're gonna do to actually save 15 seconds, which is, I think, the second biggest skip in this run. So I basically blocked the door as Fireboy, which basically allows me to press a couple of switches for the backtracking, because you could see that there was a red gem on the right side of the screen there, which is the only reason why I sent Fireboy there. But I also needed Watergirl to be there because there were also blue gems there too. And because of that, I saved 15 seconds just from cutting backtracking. So I would say that this level may be the hardest level in terms of one-player stuff. I still don't go for like 100% optimal strats, but as I said before, it's just really hard to have a high consistency when you're trying to do perfect movement with both characters at once. But it's still doable. I think the time that I'd like for this is 42 seconds. We'll see how close I get to that. For some levels, I do should remember which time is like the best. Alright, I got a 41, that's pretty good. Oh, wrong side. Oh. So right there, we gotta push levers with one character and gotta do all the platforming with the other character. Which is really hard to do because the lever pushing part of that level is actually pretty precise due to how the slopes are placed. Alright, now time for another level. This time I'm using a weird route for a weird order for the gems simply because the order that I get the gems that I'm doing right now simply allows for a better syncing of the two characters. So with that I get the red gem there, make sure I don't kill any of my characters in the meantime. And now we're gonna do a skip with that blue platform. Normally you need to press that the blue button to actually raise that platform, but we don't need that. In 100% it saves only a couple of seconds, but in any percent it basically allows you to reach the end of the level instantly, pretty much. Saving like 25 seconds. Oh. Yeah, as I said before, like, if you get even a slight desync, it's just really hard to just improvise stuff. Just because improvising, you know, reacting after a mistake is not something that can be done for all the cases. So, gotta get this gem and then we're on to the next level. Alright. For this level, for the longest time we used to do the rock section that I'm about to do now at the very end of this level. Except there were two other runners that found out that they really tried to like remove the RNG from the rocks like rolling and the time that they take to roll. Like you can see that it's rolling really slowly right now, and if I were to do that at the end, it would be a massive time loss. But since I'm doing this at the beginning of the level, I won't lose any time because of that. And apparently the rock stopped rolling there, so I gotta have to redo the entire level. Yeah, sometimes that game can troll you like that before. Let's say that levels with rock pushing are levels that I tend to do near the beginning of the run, just because those levels tend to have a high variance in terms of whether you do it fast or slow. But now with this I just got trolled and the rock decided to stop rolling for some reasons. But yeah, it removes some of the RNG, but the RNG is still there when the rock stops rolling. And doing that actually saves 2 seconds over doing it at the very end of the run, so obviously everyone switched to doing that after that. So here we're gonna do a scary strat. So we didn't need to push the block there, so we could just use Watergirl for a way to just push the platform down there. And it basically saves 1 second from doing that, and if you fail, if your movement is just too slow, well, you just gotta restart the whole level. Now it's time for a level where I get to do some of the movement as one character, then after that it's the opposite. I do the same movement but with the other character. So if you have a donation right now, this level would be the perfect time to read one. Alright. Oh. So you could see right there that I was standing next to the door and the door was not open. It's actually a very annoying bug that this game has that got patched in all of the other games of the franchise. People call it the door glitch simply because you just go there and nothing happens. Nobody knows why it happens, it just... Sometimes you just gotta jump to re-trigger the door opening. So right there, I did a safe jump right there because sometimes if you go downhill while being on a slope, your jump can be eaten, and I definitely don't want to take an extra lap around this level. Alright, now it's time for the level with the most annoying gem in the game. The gem that is in the middle of the top part is actually requires a really precise jump in order to be gotten. So gotta push that, and after that gotta get all the gems. That jump, it may look not that hard, but it's actually pretty hard to do, especially since normally you wouldn't pause as Watergirl to actually move. There I kinda took it safe just to make sure I didn't mess it up. Alright, now it's time for possibly one of the most hyped levels in the game, simply because you see that wooden platform, well, it's gonna start turning, and ideally I'm gonna be able to catch a cycle to actually be able to not have to jump back on the platform on the right hand side, and that basically saves me 2 jumps. Oh, missed a jump there. Yeah. And 100% just doing the platforming is not enough. Sometimes there are some gems that you can just miss, even though like 95% of the time you'll get them, and 5% of the time you'll just miss them, and you'll have to react accordingly, or else you're gonna have to lose a lot of time. And that gem that I kind of went back in the last level was one of them. Like you pretty much always get that gem, except sometimes. Oh, gotta get that. Right. Now it's time for a level where we pretty much do the same thing, except one does it in reverse. it may seem not that hard since it's, you know, that level is pretty safe, but it's actually a hard level to just like do without stopping. Now it's time for the level that I like to call the badly designed level, just because of that one lever that is extremely hard to push when you're trying to push it on the right side, just because it's so close to the side of the platform. All right, now there's this jump that's also very janky. And we made it without a death. That's pretty nice. Alright. Now time for another annoying level with one player. You can see that I'm taking it very safe just because they really put lava and water in each section, so just to make sure that, you know, there's a chance that you die and have to redo it if you mess up. Just gotta make sure to not go inside the green water. That is extremely easy to miss when you're playing casually. And now this is the last level. The timing stuff will when I lose control after opening the doors at the end. But yeah, at the end of this level, there's also gonna be a skip that's gonna save about 5 seconds, where I'm gonna be able to go above the rock as Watergirl to actually push it earlier when it goes at the bottom. And it's pretty much one of the major run killers that people used to have, since a lot of people do that level last, and this jump that I'm about to do can be messed up, like that one. And I got it, so run is about to be done. And time. And I got all the A ranks, which means that I got all the gems, and I beat all the time requirements that are meant to be for people that play this game co-op. So that was a pretty nice run. So I want to say that if you guys want to learn how to speedrun this game, there's a Discord for it. You can find it on the speedrun.com page of this game. There's a lot of resources, even if you want to play by yourself or if you want to be in co-op, there's always someone in this Discord that's available to help you. And in any case, that's pretty much it for me today. Thanks for having me for LanÉTS.
Thank you very much, g0goTBC, for the marvelous, really beautiful run of Fireboy and Watergirl in the Forest Temple. A piece of our childhood that just been speedrun in our face, because why not? That's how childhoods pass, really fast. So now we'll be back with one of my favorite speedrunner, because I'm totally not biased, by Benjo Sly, who'll be doing Full Throttle Remastered 80%, and as always, stay tuned.